There was one thing that I talked about yesterday that I want to stress today in greater depth, and that is the importance of what we are doing to produce that kind of right environment that is stronger than willpower, that right environment that really can change, I believe, the course of destiny, as we were talking again yesterday. Communities, as Yogananda called them, world brotherhood colonies. In fact, he was so enthusiastic for this whole idea that no matter what his given topic, he would always get onto this one as quickly as he could and stay as long as possible. I've always laughed about his lecture on my visit to Assisi, and the lecture consisted almost entirely of a long talk on world brotherhood colonies, at the end of which he said, "And so the thing is, when I went to Assisi," and he spent 2 minutes winding that one up. So it seems appropriate for several reasons that I talk on this subject, because it is to a very great extent the essence of what we are doing. By that I mean that we don't only want to stress a beautiful philosophy. We want to make that philosophy practical. We want to bring it down out of the clouds of theory, out of the clouds of mountain caves where a few people practice and other people sigh wistfully down in the cities. We want to bring it down into the cities and help people to change. And this is necessary. For this, it is necessary that we concentrate that energy and not just make it an admonition that people can practice only in the sanctity of their own homes. It is a fact of history that nothing has ever been accomplished until a few people, and usually it's been only a few, have concentrated a new wave of energy, a new state of consciousness, a new dream, concentrated it, and then by that concentration created such a vortex of magnetism that suddenly everybody said, well, of course, why not? And everybody was doing it. If you look at history and at the great movements of history, you will find that this has been the case, I think, without exception. It's rather an extreme statement to say without exception, but I can't think of an exception. The obvious examples are the religious movements, where we find Jesus and a few disciples who changed the course of Western civilization. They were discounted as non-entities at the time. If the emperor in Rome ever heard of the crucifixion of Jesus, he would have saying, "Oh yes, so which Jesus?" He wouldn't have known anything about it. People living at his time, right there probably in Israel, weren't aware of the wave that had been created. But there was a focus to that wave, there was a power behind it. And because of that power, it grew. And gradually, over a few hundred years, it became the leading force in Western civilization. It became the saving grace of Western civilization when all the Vandals and all the Goths and so on, the barbarians came down from the north and sought to destroy. They sought to destroy, and they themselves became converted. What in fact changes the course of history is not force, ever. It's ideas. It's an interesting thing. If you go to the meaning of blessed are the meek, it doesn't mean meek. It says gentle. Blessed are the gentle. Other translations say gentle. Those who exercise not force, not physical violence, but the gentle force of private, deep-seated conviction. These are the ones who inherit the earth. Their ideas are the ones that obtain. The pen is mightier than the sword. Buddha lived a lot longer than Jesus. He had many more disciples, and yet even they were nothing compared to the numbers of people living in his country, and yet they changed the entire East. Buddhism is basically the religion of the East, except in India. And we find that with every major change, every major thrust, every meaningful movement, even if it hasn't been in religion, it's always been from a focus of energy, and a focus that has come from a few people concentrating their energies. Even I think of something perfectly mundane, like the left bank writers and artists after the First World War.